Hello, do you have a spiritual IRA? Hi, I'm Ken Yates from Grace Evangelical Society, and I'd like to talk about spiritual IRAs for just a few minutes. This was brought up to me by a friend of mine named John. I won't give you his last name because he may not want me talking about him or talking about it, but I'm going to steal his idea. Obviously, an IRA is an individual retirement account. And I don't know the different kinds, what you got Roth, you got traditional, you got other kinds. And I'm bringing this up because not only did my friend John bring it up, but it's tax seasons. And those of us who have IRAs, when we do our taxes, you got to have those forms. And again, you get different tax breaks and all these other things. But my friend John said, the Bible teaches that we can also have spiritual IRAs. Whatever good deals IRAs are for our finances and for our taxes as we delay paying taxes on our earnings and our individual retirement accounts, we also have, and every believer has one, whether they know it or not, an individual rewards account. There's the spiritual IRA. Jesus taught this in his Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6, starting in verse 19. Matthew is talking primarily to the disciples. Now, in the group, there were others as well, other unbelievers who were listening to what he says. But to the disciples, he says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart is or will be also." Obviously, the Lord is saying that we can make investments in the world to come. When we have an IRA in this life, what we're doing is we're laying money up for when we retire. And that's why we're given all these tax breaks. We're saying, okay, if you put the money in, then you have a tax break, and you make money off that, and hopefully this money will be earning interest, and when you get old, you can withdraw on it. Well, Jesus says we do the same thing in our spiritual lives. When we do the things that he teaches in the Sermon on the Mount, we are literally investing in the future. But the investments that we're making in the future are in a world that we have never seen. It's the kingdom that we're talking about. Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount is talking about his kingdom. And the exciting thing is that when we invest in the IRA in this life, an individual retirement account, we hope to gain the benefits from it. We hope that if we live long enough, and if the stock market doesn't collapse, and if our culture survives, and if our national debt doesn't force the government to take away from our IRAs, that we are going to be glad that we invested in the past so that in the future we can experience blessings from it. But there's a lot of ifs there, right? Our economy plays a factor. Whether we live that long plays a factor. The national debt plays a factor. All these things play a factor. What will the tax rate be? But what Jesus says is our spiritual IRA is not like that. When we make an investment in the kingdom by walking in obedience to him, by doing the things that he tells us to do, by living for the world to come. In fact, in the next verse, he says, let your eye be clear. What he means is let your focus be on the world to come. If we live that way, if we're living for the world to come and we want to please him, the investments that we make, thieves are not going to steal. Rust is not going to destroy. The economy of that world is not going to collapse, and we're not going to experience the blessings of that investment. It is a sure thing. Every believer has an individual rewards account, a spiritual IRA, if you will. The only difference is some people have very little deposited in there. And when they get to the kingdom, they're going to be that much poorer as a result. What the Lord is telling you is, I have an IRA for you, a spiritual IRA that's a can't miss. Make sure you invest in it. If you like this video, I'd ask that you would press the like button and even the subscribe button. And remember, keep grace in focus.